Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. A delight to be with you. Don't touch that dial. I know I'm not Jim Garrison. He has unfortunately not been able to join us today due to some other business items in Amsterdam, but we're here. We're here together. And so delighted that we get to share this space with each other. Welcome to day 369. I love this number. 3 is because I have 3 children. 69 was the year that Hillary and I were born or went to university. Not born, went to university. Oh my goodness, that way I'd be a lot younger if I was born in 69. My goodness, how life just is interesting in the chaotic world of ourselves today. In any event, we have an incredible program planned for you. But before we even do that, I must honor the fact that I'm coming to you from the traditional lands of the Nitsitaki and are also called the Blackfoot Confederacy. This is a very traditional land that is under siege at the moment in terms of our climate. And to my west, in the floodplains of British Columbia, in the Merritt area, we have cattle that are being stranded, humans being stranded in roadways, mudslides, water running everywhere with another, what they're calling another maelstrom of rain that's coming today on top of last week's. So our hearts are in British Columbia with all of those who are experiencing the natural disasters that have been rendered by the way we've used this planet over the last several hundred years. So hearts to British Columbia and our heart to all of you today. So before I begin the program, let me just welcome us in through the heart. Lord knows I need some coherence in this moment. And so let's just center into the heart. And as we breathe into that area of our body, in through the nose and out through the mouth, feel the energy that's connecting you not only to your cosmos, but to all of us in this moment. Let's just take a moment to quieten into the heart and connect in a coherent way to each other. A day that it's great to be alive and a day to be with each other. And now that we're settled and we're ready to embrace what's before us, let me welcome you to a day where we are going to be doing the radical reimagining of the social innovation space. You had on your calendars possibly that Connie and Andrew might be with us today on the trust frequency. They're with us tomorrow. So today we are radically reimagining the social innovation space. The reason is because as we are navigating this world where code red is ever more real, where we're dealing with so many systems that are breaking down and cracking in front of us, the it would make logical sense that social innovation would be adopted in speed and precision and with enthusiasm. I don't know about you, but the social innovation space I find myself in is still very much sitting inside the sigmoid curve, where the current systems are still holding on while the new systems are being born. It is a messy, confusing, and very chaotic space for those of us who are attempting to bring true innovation in a time of societal transformation. No one said it was going to be easy, but I don't think anybody thought it was going to be this hard. So let's start to experience what we mean by social innovation and why is the space interesting, calling to us, and challenging all at the same time. I also want to say, just before I introduce Hugo, is that please stay with us through this broadcast because we are doing an experiment today. How could we possibly talk about social innovation and not do an experiment? I mean, come on. So the experiment is we are doing a live webinar with all our chat. All of you in the chat are going to be intricately involved in this session. You are going to be co-creating social innovation with us, not sitting there and just thinking about it. We have a workshop where you're engaged in, all set up. So stay with us, get involved, and put your focus on social innovation. It's my pleasure to welcome in a man who has taken me through the social innovation world with joy, with love, with such intentionality, and that's Hugo. So Hugo, if you can join us and come to us from Europe in this moment of gathering around the Global Regeneration Corps and the HIVE. So why don't you just share with us a little bit about the history of the HIVE? Because, you know, we've been talking about it. We've been asking people to come into it to create their HIVE. And we've got 150 plus people who are hiving away as we speak. So I think that there are many that actually are playing with it, but there's so much more to it than meets the eye. So as our social innovation for GRC, the HIVE, take us into the history and what was it that originated it and how it's evolved.
Thank you, Lesley, and thank you for such a nice introduction of imagining people hiving in a way. All together and trying to collaborate. I think it is one of the intentions. So what I'm going to do is to present first the design deck that we did for developing the tool with the intentions and what is behind. So most of the people that are going to be watching this will be able to understand what the HIVE is about and what is the origin of the HIVE. And then in the second part of the presentation, I will be making an example online on how to do it. And I hope at this time, everyone will be able to join and also experiment already by doing it. So is that okay, Lesley?
Sounds brilliant. It's all yours, Hugo. Take us into the mind of the HIVE.
Perfect. I just need access to sharing the screen.
Rick, can we just get access for the screen? I think he's coming to us just any second now.
Yeah.
You have access, Hugo.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah. So, well, let's start then with the presentation. And this is a presentation about the Global Regeneration Corps. And I think this is the initiative that we all wanted to join and to see how actually we can be stronger together and how can we weave in between different possibilities of networks and even our multi-networks. So what if we can create something that helps us to catalyze this collaboration that is very much needed for the global regeneration movement? So departing from the Global Regeneration Corps, and having the opportunity of the COP26 in the Code Red for Humanity at the same time. Then we decided to jump into this big adventure of putting humanity rising at the center of the COP26, the Global Regeneration Corps, and the Code Red. And this is something that looked very powerful, but it has different kinds of implication because, because during the COP, there were a lot of protests, and these protests, they were kind of fighting against its own governments, for example. In the other side, we wanted to add value in the way of how to bring solutions to the community. And in the side of the Code Red, how to try to understand what are the challenges that are around the world and emerging from the bottom up. And from here, we can also connect the part of science in terms of challenges and local distribution. So we wanted to be one positive and clear alternative. And by doing this, then we were taking direct action in a way of a radical change together, trying to channel the energy that was going to be very negative to another one that allows us to explore and unleash our hidden networks. So we propose to innovate, and as you were saying, Lesley, from the social innovation perspective, to make an experiment and to say, what if we can create this hive with different connectors for the people to be able to go from the phone to unleash the hidden potential, to make visible the invisible, and to see where in the place there are other people that can collaborate. We're kind of running out of time, but actually it was a great opportunity to keep innovating every time. So we have, this is the structure that we established, one entry point, the hive that could be an autosave edit, and then you have ecosystems and the earth or the planet as a real-time update. So it is a place where you can keep updating your information, and then you will see how it moves in almost real time. So this is a tool that was developed for the Code Red First Responders as the Global Regeneration Corps, but that the intention was to seek for collaboration opportunities in between people and to have the visualization of the awareness that we are there in the territory and belonging to a physical space where we need to regenerate as well. So the shared purpose was clear: to regenerate the earth, and the shared intention to leverage the Regen global movement. And all this by empowering the Global Regeneration Corps initiative. And we did that by using some biomimicry design criteria, like building selectively with a small subset of elements, combine modular and nested components, understanding that forms, fits, function, self-organize, build from the bottom up, incorporate diversity, embody resilience through variation, redundancy, and decentralization. And we are looking forward for the next stage to add some other interesting design criteria, such as cultivate cooperative relationships, maintain integrity through self-renewal, use feedback loops, and evolve to survive. So this is all for putting together in the group. I remember David saying this: they unleash your hidden network and get to realize that you are not there alone, that you are together with someone else that might be in the interest of one of your challenges, your solutions. What else? What could be important for you? How can we actually establish a feedback loop that goes from the bottom up and that is individual? So you have more a fractal voice, and you can play this different game in terms of the digital perspective. So we started to define what kind of areas, domains we had it. So which entities we wanted to go for. So challenges, power, solution, network, and we plan each of the questions in a way that we wanted to see it on the screen. So we can actually create this interactivity that will be very, very easy. So the intention was to create this living profile for everyone to be there, to raise the digital and fractal voice. So we're thinking about the challenge and how we can rephrase one or the other, but also at the same time, we're thinking the 7 chakras. And so this was completely related in terms of emerging design. We also look into projects. Some of the actors of the MRA, the Master Regenerative Action, they're also very much into project management and how we can, in every decision, enhance other actors that belong to the same kind of network, and how to put organizations or many other different networks in the same space, so you can be in a multiplicity of connections. And this is just a great idea, as I see my role as an earthworm, butterfly, or phoenix. We all love this one because it allows you just to understand that you are with different lenses, and that you can get into more from your tribe if you want to be in this specific space of regeneration. And then the most important part is the call to action. So the call to action is, what do you want to do as a self-organizing pod, as a self-organized action team? So I'm willing to join, to start, call it, mentor, fund, be mentored. And from here, we created let's say the instruction. And the instruction takes us to the different possibilities of imagination. So I'm just telling you how social innovation happens in real time and with the participations of the whole team. So we're iterating in meetings every week just to understand if that was possible and even feasible, and understanding also what kind of information will be relevant for us to, for example, understand in which places there were more people in biomimicry, or how other butterflies were around also like me, or some networks in the place of Costa Rica. So how to relate the place with the other areas of questions. And here is to understand that we live in this blue Isle of Blue or blue planet. So I think until here, what we have been able to deliver, it is this unique tool where you can actually play a lot and understand how you are connected with others, and you can exchange in between different participants or people to create your own kind of activity. So what we are having as a material for everyone to have access to this, it is the QR code that is here. There is also a YouTube video with a small intro, just how to use it. There is a deck, this deck also available here. And if you want a GIF or a link, then you can also let us know, and through WhatsApp we can give some marketing material. So this is what you have seen so far, the Create Your Hive and Global Regeneration Corps. And the other part of the good news is that in terms of marketing, you can take from the embed the code and put this as an embedded type box into your website. So this is open to everyone, and this is a way also to show that you are not alone, that you belong to a network, that there are so many working for the health and of the planet and of every one of us individually as well. So this is one of the first experiments, saying, oh, how does it look? So we all shared the picture of our hives, just trying to understand if we could see some connections from all our flowers, as we also call them, the hive. And it was very cool, very interesting, because then we started very quick to go and explore the possibilities in terms of the interactivity in the application. So now I'm going to be in the second part, and in this second part we'll be going to regenerative. First, we can go to Global Regeneration Corps, and the way to have access here is you go to take action here or here, and then you move into take action and join the hive. So this is one way. The other one is regenerati.be, and then you get straight there as well. So this is the one that belongs to me, and this is the one that I'm gonna be sharing with you. So in my case, I put the human ecological niche as a challenge, and also gender equity. And for example, if I think more about water management, and I can include here water, I will see if there are others also using the same kind of text. So clean water, save water, let's put just water for me. So you click in OK, and you can keep completing this hive on your own, but I will give you the basics. So when you are in your name, you can change it. You get here with your email, but you can change it to your name. You can upload the picture or take it there, and you can choose your location from here if you are not if you didn't allow the computer to see your location. So you can make a zoom here, and you can decide where to put your location in general. And then some active places you can include it here. So in my case, I put Belgium, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Netherlands. And maybe tomorrow I will erase one or take another one in addition to these ones. So this is for my name. Then I went to the challenge. Then you can go to the power. The power is with the idea of getting to know your skills and what can you bring to the conversation that you feel that you are good at, and you will be happy to share also with others. So this is in okay. Then you have the part of the project. So here is also a place where you can mention if you are working in a specific project for you, which is also an organization. So in my case, some artistic projects, some kind of theoretical projects, and some more digital projects. And in the networks, you can put as many as you want also to be related. So the idea here, for example, I belong also to UbiVerse. So I can put here UbiVerse, and I click, and then I say, okay, this is a UbiVerse. For the earthworm or the phoenix, let's say this time I would like to be a phoenix. And I'm happy with the pods about call it mentor, be mentor, font. I'm gonna take font out, and I'm gonna put in be mentored. So I can have it here. And then I move into the next screen, which is this one. And from here, you can start exploring the connection. So each of the hexagons, it is one of the hexagons that you had it there. And then you have connectors, which are let's say the orange ones. So for example, I just put UbiVerse. I want to see if there is someone else from UbiVerse that is around here. So I click, and then I have one that is expansive. And I can zoom in, and I will see that in UbiVerse, there is Matt, Jen, Marlene, Integral City, Meshworks as an organization, seems like, and Melina, for example. And for other organizations, I can be looking for the same for other networks, and I will see one by one. So, for example, if I go in terms of the place, then I say, well, what about Netherlands? And I see in the Netherlands, let me see, where is it here? I see Willem and Integral City Meshworks as well. So this is an opportunity for me to maybe write him an email, or trying to connect or find a little bit more on different networks from him. So this is the way that we can play with the expansion of each of the bubbles and understand who is around there. And this is the level of granularity that we can get from connecting information everywhere. And then we go to the territory. And in the territory, it is really about the globe. And since we are in the code red, then we also included a weather layer that it's colored. So we put the red color in some of the gases that we can, let's say, have metrics from open sources. So NO2, SO2, and then if we put also the CO2, just the CO, the carbon, then we see the whole planet a little bit reddish. So we wanted to keep it like until here, but still giving the signal that we are in code red, with the hope that it's gonna be moving, and at some point we will be more towards like a code blue or something more positive, and bringing different texture also into the planet. So these are the possibilities that you have in being there, playing with the layers, if that's what you would like. And here you can explore, make zoom in with the plus here on the top, so I can go there and see who is around my place or the place that I'm looking at. So I see here this email, and then I can move into the next one. If they put a picture, then I will see also the picture. It depends on each of us, what the information that we want to share. But all the information is shared with everyone inside. And then you have here the embed code that I was talking. So you can just copy here and use it embedded into your website, so they can come. If you click on the super flower here, on the logo of the GRC, then you will go directly to the website again. So everything is linked and connected. And well, I think this is where my presentation stops. And I will invite Lesley to come back to the stage. So if we can do something else together or not, please let me know.
You know, Hugo, this is your gift. And I just want to comment that this is one of my observations of the social innovation space, is that those of us who are committed to innovating with the superpowers that we have, often than not, we just go. We just press go and say, I'm doing this. And as we gather a community around us, we all go together. That said, it's still, I want to underline, a gift from Seven Vortex to the world in terms of what you've offered. And when we start to think about how we grow this is where we need the support of different systems to come in and continue to co-create this hive with us. It's not good enough for us to say, let's just all offer our superpowers for free. It's just, I'm sorry, but the world is not going to sustain itself with all of our superpowers being offered for free. It's about how do we then translate the gifts that are being offered into commercial viability so that they can grow and expand and take on the type of life form that they have. What's your thought about that?
So definitely, I think we need to infuse a more positive energy in what the system it is right now. In a way, we need to use the force and the power of business and technology, but I would say with different intention. So as you are saying, being in social innovation is as hard as being an artist, because you gotta have the intention, and you have to keep moving towards that intention with radical coherence, as we were saying the other day. So it is very difficult to find this possibility of coherence into a technical way. But I believe that the group has given life to this initiative because we believe that it's possible. So we need to infuse all this energy and all these ideas and to make our voice to be relevant in a way, because if we keep just manifesting for protesting, it is one way of expression. But if we can move towards solutions and in a connected way, in a high formation, little by little, right? It is just the first iteration of the experiment. But participating, now you are making a small difference, which is enormous for us, because this is what we want to show, what it was at a time invisible. We want to make it visible and to say, look, there's so much people interested, worried, finding solutions, working hard towards the health of our planet. And there is nothing wrong with that, but actually we can deliver something that helps us to better collaborate. So I think it's a win-win situation, and this is completely going with the spirit that you're expressing about how to make from the system that we have something better. And how can we, well, if part of the question is about money, then let's do also money, but with different content. And we'll be feeling at least more integral and proud from what you've been doing. So this is the experience that I have also from the social innovation perspective, and I love it. I grew up in a family of social innovators, as we call them now. And I think this is a gift that the human society gave us all, that we have this curiosity and we need to believe in what we are, right?
You know what? We have been gifted with curiosity. Absolutely. And our curiosity takes us into spaces that sometimes we're not sure of what they are, but we keep moving into them to see what's showing itself to us in this moment. And that's why Unleashing Your Hidden Networks was such a great frame of thinking about the hive, because as I think about who I think I'm connected to, I really don't know until I enter the hive and start to see who are connected to me on the things that matter the most to me. And one of the innovations that GRC is in its entirety is that it's a call to action. It's a network of networks of networks of networks. And so, you know, the mind can get so much in terms of our industrial mind says, well, does this mean I'm joining an organization when I join the GRC? And the answer is no. You're joining a movement, and you are at the center of this movement in your hive. And this is where one of the, I think when social innovation, we flip things around and we naturally assume them because we're inside the innovation. But for others, we need to really be clear about the fact that as you create your hive, you are in the center. You are the center of the movement. And what you're co-creating with others, you see with the linkages that you have with others. And that means then that we're all the center of the GRC movement in our own contribution, in the way we take a stand, in the way we identify our power and our projects and our challenges. So it's really an interesting. Hugo and I've had many conversations with people who says, well, I belong to so many organizations. Do I have to join another one? And we go, no, this isn't about joining an organization, man. This is about aligning with others who are already inside of multiple organizations and networks and seeing how we connect with each other so that with the power of our infinity and affinity can grow and grow and grow as we take on different connectors around the world. What do you think about that, Hugo?
Well, I hope it allows us to create empathy and to understand that there are many perspectives on what we think as well. I remember one of the surprises in the beginning for you was why are not putting gender as a challenge or as an issue, and that was surprising, but that is also part of the equation, like what kind of things are relevant for each of us, and bringing this difference to the game, that it is your own game, it is your own agency, the one that is at stake. So you need to move, and you need to move in a way that it is optimal or close to optimal. So we can create less impact, we can enjoy of the best of the things, but in a respectful way. And I think that sounds like a plan for everyone that wants to go to a picnic or to a party, and it's always better, right?
It's always better. So what you're referring to is that I put gender equity as one of the problems, the challenges that I feel are really neat. I believe is an important challenge for us as a planet, and it's important to me as a human. And I was so shocked when I went to look at my connectors that I wasn't connected to anybody who had identified that challenge. And so that was just an interesting, I mean, that's what this does, is it allows us to go and search to see what answers create what responses. And so it's, it used to be sitting inside some kind of a think tank hub that somebody else controlled. And we would say, can you find out what the connections are between that? And then we'd wait. And then they'd send us a spreadsheet and they'd show us. That's not what this is. I control my data. I control who I see, when I see them, how I see them, by changing my answers and connecting out with different people. So this is the beauty of this innovation, is that we are each in the center of the GRC hive, and we are hiving with many others in seeing how we can co-create our planet. So Hugo, you're sticking around to participate in our next experiment, correct?
Okay, yeah.
I'm so happy that you're going to be part of this next experiment. I just want to thank you on behalf of all of us for the beauty that you've brought, for the humanness and the empathy and the love that you bring, that you keep us human and keep us with nature as we navigate technology. It's a great gift that you have. So I'm going to now welcome in my two co-conspirators with the Girl-Driven Solutions. And I'm going to welcome in Hillary Van Welter and Rebecca Irby. And these women are insanely talented friends of friends and relatives, and part of a social innovation that we've been co-creating since May of this year. Since Jim said to me, let's do a women's summit. And I said, okay. And he said, yeah, let's just bring, some people together and talk about the existential threats that are affecting women, their bodies through radiation and fossil fuel extraction. The fact that we have a gender that's marginalized in so many parts of the world, and marginalized even as we speak in this panel in so many ways in terms of the game of play. And that's when I said, this can't be one of those same old summits. This has got to be an innovation. And so I knew that to create that innovation, I needed my ride or die gal, Hill, and I needed my other ride or die gal, Rebecca. And we have been birthing Girl-Driven Solutions since the beginning, when we decided that we were going to take on the world's top to-do list, the SDGs, and turn them inside out with a regenerative lens. And therefore, the birthing of GDS came, and that means Girl-Driven Solutions, the SDG makeover. But we too are navigating the social innovation space. And I'd love to welcome in Hillary and Rebecca with thoughts you have about the space that we're navigating to create interest and understanding of what we mean by a girl-driven solution and what we mean by an SDG makeover. Hill, do you want to start?
Yes, but before I do, I want to just make a comment that links to what you and Hugo were just talking about. And years ago, Romeo Dallaire, who was an amazing, amazing Canadian humanitarian who went from coming back from Rwanda with PTSD, finding himself on a park bench and out, like totally decimated, and found his way back to become an amazing humanitarian in Canada. He was traveling with a child soldier doing a series of lectures, and one of the young women at McGill said, "Well, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? I need to do something." Having listened to him, and he said, "For God's sake, don't go start another organization. Find a way to connect them all." That was 10 years ago, and I think we should let Romeo Dallaire know about the HIVE, because that's Mother Nature's work at best. And Hugo has channeled Mother Nature in such an amazing way. And so I just had to make that link, because we are operating in a space where we are working in dynamics and ways that are radically difficult. And they're very, very, very stressful. And we are living lives that are very stressful. At the same time, we are trying to mobilize something new and fresh. And it's like the years that we were in the innovation game, where a CEO would come and say, "Oh, we want you to do something just like them, but very different." And because they wanted something that had been a proven concept, that had been tried many, many times, but they wanted to do something different, but they wanted something that had been tried many times. And I think we're back in that space again. And I think as we have an opportunity, especially with being women and bringing a different lens, to be able to, as with Mother Nature, going to bring her back in, because she's the great creator in many, many ways, to try and do things in a space where everybody cannot recognize innovation, because it makes them nervous, it makes them upset, they can't see themselves in it, and yet that's exactly what we desperately need.
Fabulous. Rebecca, what your thoughts before we begin our experiment?
I I'm excited to see how this social experiment works. I know we've been working in kind of theoretical spaces, and we've been doing a lot of the social innovation in a small group and with each other. So I'm very interested and excited to see this out in the world. I think it's time, something that we've all feel the world is ready for. And there's as you said, a lot going on. I'm actually in the midst of a makeover as we speak. There are contractors here, so you may hear hammering in the background, and I do apologize, but I am in an active construction site at the moment. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this is going to go. So let's get started.
Fabulous. I think we're all in an active construction site. I think that what Hillary and you are both saying is exactly the case for all of us in this call today, and who are part of are now going to be participants, have been audience, but now participants, is that we're all in a construction site, and we're building away with shared intention and purpose. And sometimes we just need to come together and see, what are we co-creating together? So Girl-Driven Solutions is about a makeover, and we are using a number of unconventional techniques to go inside the regeneration of 5 SDGs. But we thought today what we would do is show you one of the processes that we use in order to get out of our way, in order to experience and play with what is social innovation. So Hill, I'm going to turn it over to you. And I just want to say to everyone, get ready to just have some fun, come and play with us. The games are beginning.
Okay, I'm sharing screen. Can everybody see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to go on a little trip to Wonderland. And this is a process that I co-designed with a wonderful gentleman that I met in the midst of the pandemic in a chat at a conference on crowdfunding. And I made a comment about one of the speakers that I don't often make comments, but it was a comment about ecosystems. And I ended up putting a comment in, and this fellow from Melbourne, Australia, reached out and said, I would really like to connect with you. So we started meeting every Sunday, my Sunday, his Monday. And one day I said, it really does feel like we've fallen down the rabbit hole. And he said, well, wait a minute. I remember going to an exhibit in Melbourne, Australia. And it was all about Alice in Wonderland. And he went and found a map. And I looked at the map and I said, this is a process. This is an opportunity because we have fallen down the rabbit hole, to create a really different kind of process. So that integrates both the current reality, but also the new opportunities, and create the bridge of the and. Because we can't just jump into the new world without understanding what it is we really want to be changing from the old world. So we co-created this process called the Taste of Wonderland, and we started piloting it. Unfortunately, my beautiful friend Alex Pantia, who was the co-creator, died unexpectedly in March of this year. And so I always, whenever I introduce this process, I honor him, because he's with us and guiding its evolution as we introduce it into many places. But it was because of Alex and falling down the rabbit hole that we actually are doing this. So I'm just going to hang on a second. I'm going to go back. So for those of you who are not as familiar with Alice, the story of Alice in Wonderland, she's a young girl who is following a white rabbit who's all dressed up, falls down a rabbit hole, and ends up in a land where the strange is normal and the normal is strange. Now, this is worse than Cole's notes, but I've just pulled out elements to explain the process. Alice finds herself in a hallway of doors she can't either open or get through. And she gets incredibly frustrated. So she cries so much, she creates a pool of tears, which then becomes the Sea of Tears. When Alice finds land, she has a number of adventures with crazy people and sees some crazy things. One of these is the Mad Hatter's Tea Party that Alice goes to, where everyone is having a wild time and saying outrageous things. Another adventure is when Alice moves through the looking glass or the mirror to a world which is the opposite of what is normal or expected. This is a story about a young girl who meets many strange characters who are never judged or deemed mentally ill or just quirky. It's through these experiences with strange places and characters that Alice grows up and learns that she can handle anything that happens to her. So that's why we utilize the story of Alice in Wonderland, because it's a framework that inspires imagination and curiosity. So we have the first stop is the hallway of doors or doorways, which are the cracks and the breakdowns that we're experiencing. The next are the pool of tears, which are those things that we are grieving, that we are angry about, and that are dying, that are making way for the new. Then we have the looking glass, which are great new ideas, and they're fabulous ideas that are just starting to emerge. Many of them are early trends. And then the magic of the process is, and how we do this normally is that, and we're going to actually be piloting this right now with you, or doing it with you, is that we have people that actually share their cracks and breakdowns, and we have an opportunity to explore those together. Then we explore the pool of tears and the things that everybody is grieving, because everybody gets to input. And then we look at some great new ideas. But where the magic comes in is in the fourth experience, which is the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. And in that one, we actually mix together an element from the hallway of doorways or doors, an element from the pool of tears, and a wow idea, and we pull them together to create what we call a strange brew. And we have run this in a number of different formats. We have or domains. We've run it in the area of business. I did it in with a masterclass for the future industries of Australia. I've done it with mental illness. I've done it in a range of different places. So it's also being actually physically run in Malawi, in Zomba, Malawi, with 150 women who will physically be going through this process in a village. So it's we want to try it today with you online, because it's a great opportunity to be able to play. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you a couple of questions in each of the hallways, the hallway of doors, as well as in the pool of tears. And is it possible, Rick, to put in the chat the link to the Google Doc that people can actually put their answers in?
Which document?
It is the one titled Hallway of Doors and Pool of Tears.
Hallway of Door. Got it. Okay.
Okay. So the first question we're going to ask you to answer is, what cracks and breakdowns in the current systems do you see, feel, or sense are increasing? That's one question. And the second question is, what chaos and uncertainty have you been experiencing? So if you could go to the Google Doc that Rick has just put a link to, and you will see the first two columns relate to the hallway of doors. So, and just write in, what are the cracks and breakdowns in the current systems that you feel are increasing, and what chaos and uncertainty are you experiencing? Why we do it this way is that everybody gets an opportunity to create the inventory, because what we're doing is creating the ingredients of a new solution, a new innovation, a new way of seeing things. And the more that we can populate these sheets with people's experiences, that the real, what are the real cracks and breakdowns, and what is the chaos and uncertainty? So I'm going to ask anybody who's on the panel, Les, Hugo, Rebecca, do you have any that you want to speak to? Cracks and breakdowns and chaos and uncertainty?
They're all filling up, Hill. They're all filling
Yeah,
up.
it's pretty
really
cool to
exciting.
see.
Great.
Yeah, we've got lots of coming in. This is really exciting.
You want to tell me? I can't see them. So can you tell me what a couple of them are?
Yeah, sure. They are communication, political divisions, health care is sick care, breakdown in trust, the whole notion of homelessness, the finance system doesn't work for everyone, fractured crisis attention to fractured youth, disconnection from each other. Insurance only works for the companies and not for the insured. Lack of connection with neighbors, families living in far distances, and lack of connection to Gaia. Daily stress becomes the priority, focused on illness. Illness in the home with a father. I mean, there's so many multiple types of these cracks that are occurring simultaneously for us. It's, we can navigate maybe one crack a day, but when multiple cracks are occurring. And then when we're talking about what chaos and uncertainty are you experiencing, water pollution, climate crisis, trust in our politicians, and anxiety about the masses, how to manage my limited time to affect positive change, community division over vaccination, lack of desire to go back into the mainstream.
Great. This is great.
So, I mean, we're
Fabulous.
getting some wonderful, wonderful ideas. So, this is where we just get to put what's ever top of our mind. I think that the one thing about Alice is that she teaches us to not think about it, like just respond, just be in the moment as to what's coming to you when you think about the cracks and the breakdowns and the chaos and uncertainty.
I think if Alice analyzed them all, she would never have done what she did. So it's about actually recognizing them and acknowledging them is one of the first things we have to do. So I'm going to go on to the next, because we have a time situation, and where we really need our time is in the tea party. So the next stop on the way is, of course, the pool of tears, and so the first question we're asking is, what makes you feel, of course you can see what the questions are because they're all on the same Google sheet, but what makes you feel powerless and hopeless? And the second one being, what do we have to leave behind? So these are, again, two questions that tap into the feeling system, the grieving process, the deep sadness, the very deep feelings around what we're actually really sad about, what we're really angry about. And so if you could, again, go to just move over to that in the Google Doc and start populating these, that would be super. And we're going to have just a couple of minutes, and then we have our next stop.
So Hill, some of the things that are coming in on what makes you feel powerless and hopeless, the sheer volume of this torrential output. The police, so many issues, political, emotional, societal, extreme political polarization, not being able to be honest with friends and family because of the differences, loss of community responsibility, societal breakdown, disparity of the 1% and the 99%, the 1% haves and the 99% have-nots, the denial of the climate breakdown and the denial of the importance and urgency of our planetary crisis, all of the death of friends and mentors. There's so many people have left us in this last period that we are very much aware of. And another one is tokenism. So angry about the tokenism that is happening. So yes, let's do truth and reconciliation, but we're not really going to give back your land. I think that's some of what I would see in the sense of powerlessness of the rhetoric versus the reality of what people are prepared to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we see what do we have to leave behind? These are really, really powerful. Self-interest versus caring for each other and our world as a whole. We have to let go of certainty, resentment, big underlying on. We have to let go of our resentment around what's happening. Control, the need to have so much personal space and the need to have so much stuff. We have to leave behind the comfort of luxury, working in isolation, consumerism. This one, I think, is this next one. I really understand it. We have to let go of our fear and our lack of confidence We're in that the doorways of the in-between. We don't know what we've really left, and we don't know what we're really going to, because everything's in that context. And so we may not feel confident about where we find ourselves, where every day is so much more. And so I think confidence and esteem and self-worth are elements here that we need to be really owning, and we have to let go of the alternative to that, which is our fear, our self-doubt.
Which of course is easy to say, right? It's easy to say we have to do that. It's one of the hardest things to do when you're in the midst of these massive changes. And we face it, we're all doing all these things internally too. We're reconstructing who we are. We are taking down structures of who we thought we were for many, many years, and having to see who we're becoming. And being in the chrysalis is very difficult. You're just soup, and trying to figure out what that soup's trying to create is a very difficult process. And I just think that this is, one of the comments in the chat was, the cracks were things that may feel out of my control. I do have control, because I have control over my feelings, and I have control. So that's a really interesting differentiation between what we experience in the cracks and what we experience in the pool of tears.
When we talk about the pool of tears, again, there's the ideology that we are all one. But to actually embrace that, we have to let go of the idea that we are separate, that we are disconnected. And for some, that separateness and disconnection has become a way of living. And so letting go of that is a very challenging way forward. So,
right. So see ourselves on that bench. What are we having to leave behind? How do we get into that water in a way that feels safe, in a way that feels, get the adventurer out in us again and say, okay, where to next?
Yeah.
So the where to next, bridging over, is where we have a little bit of fun now, because now we spent some time looking at like all the breakdowns that are happening. We've now experiencing the deep feelings about what we're experiencing in terms of grief and sadness and powerlessness and what we want to leave behind. Those two elements are incredibly important, and they're the letting go of it, what's sitting inside us about what needs to change. Now we have an opportunity to be able to look into the looking glass, and the looking glass in how we're going to do it today is we're going to look at some really cool trends. And so, Rick, if you could put into the chat the link to the Future 100 Trends, the looking glass link. Actually, I'm going to come out of. Okay,
I put the wrong link in. 1 second. Let me go grab that one.
So this is a series of trends that were shared at the beginning of this year by Wonderman Thompson, and they're just a fabulous series of trends. And we're not going to have time to literally read through all of the different trends. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to click on the link in the chat that takes you to the collection of trends. There is on page 3 and 4, 10 categories of trends. And the idea is you select one category and then quickly scan through those trends and select the trend that resonates the most, and then write that down. This is the and why you might sense this, why this is something that resonates with you. And I'm going to come out of the presentation now for a moment, and I'm going to go into the we're going to go into the link.
Which one's the link, Hillary?
Okay, the link is
for the future.
It's the looking glass. So I'm just going to
the looking glass. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
So now, you can I use any number of trends when it comes to this part, and any number of different ideas when it comes to this part. But for today, and I found this one to be really fun, because if we go to page 3 and 4, we have the different categories of culture, tech and innovation, travel and hospitality, brands and marketing, food and drink, beauty, retail, work, health, and finance. Now, these are, one would say, there are probably rather classical categories. Let's hope that as we evolve over this next number of years, we're going to have, we would have different categories possibly. But just go to a category that that you feel that resonates with you the most out of all of these, and then scan through the 10 trends that are sitting in that category. And then unfortunately, there aren't hyperlinks. But just if you want to have a little gander at whichever one you choose, just scroll down and find the page it's on and just take a quick read. You've got about 5 minutes for this. And meanwhile, do any one of Rebecca or Les or Hugo have one that jumped out to you right away?
Well, right now, I think we're just trying to get the link back into the chat for those trends. So just give us a second.
Hang a second. I've got it here. Let me just put it in here.
That would be great. And I think the point that you're making, Hill, is that it really doesn't matter what you use at this stage. What it is it's just a cacophony of ideas that are playing in space right now. That
they're real live innovations. They're not something that somebody's dreamt up hypothetically. These are all things that are actually happening. They're all things that have been implemented. They're a breath of fresh air. Once we've been sitting in the darkness of the cracks and the tears. Now we're ready for some sunshine. And so, and I find what social innovation work that I've done for so many years is sending up a flare of new thinking. It's not, and rather than targeting an innovation out to people or an initiative out to people, it's literally sending a flare, and those people who connect to that flare of new thinking come to it. It's like moths to the flame. That's why it's so wonderful, because it allows for a very holistic grouping of people, because nothing's targeted. The thinking draws, the idea draws. So these are all different expressions of new ways of doing things. And so I want to focus on one that I found particularly fascinating because of the situation of growing up in Quebec, which Lesley and I did for many years. And in Quebec, they did not allow children to go to movie theaters, because there had been a fire in a movie theater and a number of children, unfortunately, had died. And so no kids were allowed to go. And so the only place that we could actually go to see a movie was we had to go to a drive-in and drive-ins were not allowed in Quebec either. We had to go to Ontario, which was the border drive-in. And we saw so many great movies. I always remember seeing Born Free in that drive-in. And there was something really magical about the drive-in. So this one is a very interesting updating of what a drive-in experience is. And they had one where they actually took where Nissan partnered with Atlas Obscuria on a drive-in performance series. They also had drive-ins where they took people into different experiences with the drive-in. Also, the whole idea about using drive-in in terms of people who do not have access to cars, and being able to open it up so that you would have maybe a whole Uber experience. But again, it was taking something from the past that brings with it a certain experience and memory, and giving it a whole different feel and look. What was interesting about one of them, the Rogue Routes experience, took audiences to hidden gem locations where they were entertained with live music, presentations by scientists, artists and innovators, drone light shows, and daredevil stunts. So imagine that type of experience.
So Hill, what are the things I'm just wondering now? You just want us to find the one or two ideas?
Just find one idea that resonates.
You know what I love? I love the fact that the major brands are going back into recycled clothing.
Yeah.
good, like, I mean, it's not just like the trendy thing to go to your local consignment store, but the brands themselves, like H&M, Gucci, they're all going into the secondhand, the recycling of clothing, as opposed to the creation of new. So that's, to me, is an interesting trend.
Super. Absolutely.
So what do I do with it once I
So just note it. Just
All right.
note it. Just
Okay.
write it down on a piece because you're going to need it in the next step.
Okay.
So just note it. And in 2 minutes, we're going to go to the next step.
Okay. I might find another one.
Well, you can find as many as you like.
Well, I love these.
They're all there for the taking.
Yeah, I love going through these trends. They're so much fun.
And I know that we don't have very much time to do it today, so I do apologize for that. But this is just a taste, right? It's a taste of Wonderland. And once you've pulled out a trend, or you may know of something, these may have stimulated another trend that you know about. And you're not confined to this list. The idea is identifying an idea that actually has some resonance with you, that you go, wow, that's a really cool idea. So now that you've hopefully pulled out an idea, now we get to play at the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. So at the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, the idea is that we, as I mentioned earlier, we pick out one of the cracks from the hallway of doors or doorways. And one of the things is that you don't have to pick one of yours. You can just pick anyone that resonates, only one crack that really resonates. Then you go through the list of the pain points of the pool of tears, and you pick one from, not one from each column, just one. So the one that resonates the most from the hall of doorways, one that resonates most from the pool of tears, and then you pick your cool eye, and then you've got your cool idea from the looking glass. And Rick, do you have the last link to put in?
I've already put it in, Hillary.
Great. So you take a line, and write down your crack and breakdown, write down your pain point, write down the cool idea, and then you look at what happens when you combine those three elements. What new way can you think of navigating the social innovation space? And this is about the fact that we know that social innovation is such an important discipline, domain, a whole new approach to be able to bring about change both on the inside, because social innovation change works on the inside and outside simultaneously. So thinking about a new way of navigating the social innovation space when you put together your crack, your pain point, and your wow idea.
And they can come from the whole spreadsheet
Yes.
of ideas. So I can just run my eyes over them and just see which ones are jumping off the page for me.
Yes.
In each column.
Yes. Yes. So
Okay.
which one, when you go down through that list, that of the cracks, you go, that one speaks to me the most. Write it in. You go through the list of the pain points of the pool of tears, which one resonates with you the most, put it in. Or you can just do random, you can just go, okay, I'll pick that one, I'll pick this one. And then you put your wow idea from the trends in, and you see what new something is getting birthed. What new something is starting to take shape in your mind about a new way of navigating the social innovation space.
Okay.
So I'm going to come out of this for the moment, because I want to go into the so this is an experiment, right? I want to go into the live. I want to go into the live document. So
Do you want to share the live document with everyone, Hill, so that people can see as well what you're looking at?
yes, so I was just going in to see what kind of so let me go into this share. Okay, so now I'm looking at all these different, so picking out a crack, picking out something that's really making me feel sad, or the pool of tears, and then looking at, okay, which one. So I was just going to try and do one live.
Yes.
Oh,
do
so
that.
sorry.
Oh, please do that.
So I'm going to take houselessness, and I'm going to take tokenism. Okay, I'm going to take those two. This is really putting me under stress now. And then I'm going to look at the trends. I'm going to go back to my drive-in one. No, you know what? I'm going to do the one you mentioned, Les. I'm going to do the one which is the use of, really understanding a different way to do fashion. So what I would do is I would identify, could we, for an example, what if we were to go to places where individuals are currently houseless, and we were to work with them as fashion designers? And what if we were to work with them in a really unique kind of healing way to bring out their innate talent of understanding, because they understand survival incredibly well. So what if we were to look at a way of and so we don't just work in the why I think I've picked tokenism is that would be I'm just going to go and I'm going to find clothing and give clothing to those that are in the home or houseless situations. That to me is tokenism. If I were to apply this as a social innovation, I would then have an opportunity to start looking at, okay, how do I work with the talent that has been buried, the potential, the regenerative talents that's been sitting inside many of these individuals, and see, is there a way that we can actually work with that innate talent to design a different kind of clothing that would come from using updating, upgrading, upcycling clothing that had been thrown out or donated.
Another thing I was thinking about, Hill, with that innovation is that when you're houseless, your access to clothing is challenged. And especially in our northern climate, warm clothing. So why couldn't we approach a brand that does make clothing for, exterior warm clothing for those who are living in circumstances where they are houseless, and find ways in which they could create special clothing for that particular market that could support them in the kind of climate realities that they're living in.
Right. And I think that, but they would need to be the designers of it.
Of course, I'm
designer,
adding
right?
to that idea. I'm adding to that idea.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
So
those are just
in innovation we keep adding. We just keep
at. But so what this experiment is about is saying that we could have just taken that idea of the whole idea of fashion, and how so many of these fashion designers are exploring how to reuse and repurpose. But it's when we go into the crack and the pool of tears that we get the grounding, and we get the DNA that really makes this idea matter, and really gives a different feel, a different dynamic to the idea. And this is, we've just, we're doing this in real time, in 20 minutes. Look at the ideas that are coming out. So that's what the Taste of Wonderland is about. It's about grounding things of new possibilities inside the real things that matter to us, and things that are resonating with us, and where we see the possibilities for change. And this is the world of because we're not just flipping into the new and saying, okay, we're just going to go down this path with this new idea. We are saying it's grounded in the past, but it's evolved into the future. And therefore, it is the bridge that will hopefully provide others to understand, those that do have the money, that do have the finances, that when we work in the world of and, that we start to really explore a different kind of idea, it has a different DNA, it has a different feel to it, it has a different dynamic to it. So here we have some really, look at these ones. You know, oh, look at the whole idea of the antimicrobial packaging. You know, how to use that in the caring of each other. How to use antimicrobial packaging to care for each other, rather than just caring for the product. You know, that's a really cool thing. Denial, lack of 7th generation principle to leadership decision making, Gen Z careers. New way to work, bring humanness to the workforce that is working towards a common goal to become human. You know, again, looking at the whole idea of Gen Z careers being a vehicle that bridges the past and the future and moves us out of denial. And finding that there's new ways to work. And how do we not do human-based design, but humanity-based design? That's a totally different scenario. So these are I'm just going to come out of the stop. I just want to congratulate you guys for playing with us and being part of this. It's been you know, this is just a little taste, and what we find when we do this we do this normally with small groups of about 10 to 15 people maximum, and the dialogue that happens during, so what we would do in the actual process, where we would spend time in the hallway looking at these different cracks and sensing some of the synergy, some of the themes. We would spend time working, hearing the stories behind the pool of tears. We would then spend time exploring together these new concepts that people had developed. And just one final thing, Les, just to describe how it's going to be done in Malawi, in Zomba, Malawi, is that in the process, normally there's 12 doors. So there'll be 12 door frames that will be set up with different fabrics. And the women are going to be going into groups of pods of 4 because of the sensitivity of what they're going to be discussing. There's a very strong privacy requirement. And so they're going to be going into small pods. They will be going through, they'll pick a number, they'll go in through a door. They will spend time exploring the question that door poses about their life, and each door has a different question. And then the next break is that they will be doing one of their own ceremonial processes, which is they're going to be stomping maize as they sing about those things that they had just discussed. And then they're going to be going down to the river to do the pool of tears, where they will do a grieving ceremony. And when they will then answer the 5 questions of the pool of tears in terms of the very different dynamics of their lives that they are grieving. And then we go into a marketplace, which is all new ideas. And the marketplace has it has a goat there, for an example, for working with healing with animals. It will have a shaman there working with healing practice. It will have new designs for gardens and seeds that they can take with them. Anyway, there's 12 different little booths. And then they come into their tea party, which is celebratory, where they will do the process of taking an idea from taking one of the things that had been identified in the hallway of doors. They will take something from the river, from the pool of tears. They will take an idea from the marketplace, and they will co-create projects that will come into that will change their lives.
So unbelievable. And there's a question in here is we just did the Mad Hatter's Tea Party by the combination of the ideas.
Yes. The Mad Hatter's Tea Party is combining the ideas into something that feels different for you, something that you may have had that idea before, but something about it is different because of the ingredients you use to make it.
Wonderful. I just want to invite Hugo and back in and see if you're there, if just see what emerged for you, Hugo.
So for me, and thank you for this fun activity or game, as I feel it, Hilary. Thank you. For me, it came a culture redesign as a way to see it. And then the crack is a disconnection with each other. The chaos is water pollution, pain, old money, and leave behind fear. And the concept that came at the end was more on healing tears.
Hidden tears.
Healing tears.
Healing tears. I
Healing
love
tears.
that. I love that. Can you imagine a social innovation all built around healing tears? Like that is beautiful. But I think it's also got hidden tears. I think that a lot of our tears are hidden, and now when in bringing them out and healing them, I think that's what a great innovation that is.
What about for you, Rebecca?
It's just been really beautiful to see this whole process. I'm still kind of going through all of the lines and thinking about things, and my mind is a little bit all over the place, but it's a really beautiful process, Hilary. So I'm very appreciative in your willingness to share with us and go through this experiment live. So I know that can be scary, but I think it's been a really beautiful process, and I've not been fully participating in that. I've been writing some things, but not complete thoughts, but kind of watching and looking and seeing what's been bubbling up, and it's very inspiring. So thank you for bringing us into this space and for sharing this innovation with us.
Thank you.
So the 150 women in Malawi are responding to the call to the mothers, and there also are pods for girl-driven solutions. Do you just want to explain the call to the mothers, and then we'll just take us into girl-driven solutions?
So Call to the Mothers originated as an initiative to radically reimagine mental illness and addiction. And it's because there's many of us feeling that the current way in which we are approaching mental illness and addiction is causing more trauma. And the systems that we're using, the medications that we're using, the all of the current system, the system is itself in trauma. And so we started to use this Taste of Wonderland as a way to bring those with lived experience, the caregivers, mental health specialists, as well as members of the public who had no previous experience with anything to do with mental illness or mental health. And to have them go through this process to explore how do we totally reimagine this concept of mental illness and mental health? And what if we were to look at those who are deemed to be mentally ill as the sages and prophets of our time, as the inventors and crazy creators of our time? And how do we work with intergenerational trauma techniques that deal with work with shamanistic practice alongside brain science, alongside all kinds of different healing modalities, but that's at the same time, the whole goal is to help the individual find their unique purpose, their unique calling, and then they have a reason to want to reformulate how they work with whatever condition that they have been diagnosed with as being one of their gifts, their superpowers, and working with the idea of neurodiversity. So that's how it started, was to totally reimagine what we see. We see all kinds of a different crisis response. We see a different kind of crisis center emerging. We see a different kind of centers emerging that would work with individuals in a totally different way to help them deal with the crisis that they're feeling in themselves. And many who have been deemed to be mentally ill, who have told they have a life sentence, to help them understand that it's their life gift. And how do we reframe so that it becomes a life gift and help them work through addiction? We have learned is not the stuff you take, it's the disconnection you feel. And in many cases. So that's where Call to the Mothers started. in terms of with this process as a vehicle of research, of the concept development, and of literally of community development, of building a community that does want to see this kind of change come about. And so that, and then I was presenting it in a webinar with a friend of mine in Toronto, and a fellow from this beautiful guy, Brown Messenger from Malawi, contacts me and says, "I really want to bring Call to the Mothers to Malawi," and that's how it started in April. And so now we're in Malawi.
And the beauty of this is that as they move through the Call to the Mothers, they're also moving into pod formation for girl-driven solutions. So if I'm just going to just frame what we're calling in with girl-driven solutions. We're calling in women, girls, and every human that self-identifies across the gender spectrum who feels that it is time for us to create an equality platform that really is real and intentional. And that very much the focus is on those of us feeling marginalized by our circumstances. And so when we look at the pods, we're looking at 5 to 8 women in different geographic centers. And in the case of Malawi, we're going to have a number of pods in formation there, but we will have these pods all around the world who are going to be joining with us on a learning journey from now until April in the reimagining of 5 SDGs, of the making over of 5 SDGs. And while you might think that that's bureaucratic work, that is not what we're doing. We're doing this from the lens of the regenerative essence that sits inside each of those SDGs. And most importantly, and this is where the most important part comes, is that each of the women participating and engaging with us will in fact be moving through that transformation personally. Each of our pods are going to be doing pod transformation, and they'll be doing their own transformation as they realize the power that they have to change the world in which they live. So this is why we're using a range of very unique techniques to engage with our women from around the world. We're opening up to different networks. If you are a network of women located in different geographic locations, please contact us. Let us know about you. We would love to have you engaged in what we're co-creating together. We have 4 really incredibly powerful young women who have joined us, who are our social media team, and we're about to launch the What is Beauty Telling Us campaign on social media next week. So we are alive and running and co-creating in real time and looking at on the ground change. While we believe that we need to change the systems, the only time that we can really change systems is when we change from the individual out. And so that's why the HIVE will be live and well inside our co-creation. So join the HIVE and put in as one of your projects or one of your networks, girl-driven solutions. And then you will find in the HIVE who's connected to you through GDS or girl-driven solutions. So we're using the HIVE to find those who want to co-create with us and who want to come on this journey leading up to the summit on April 12th and 13th, when we will be showcasing and revealing the makeovers that have been in an evolution over the course of the last several months.
And Les, I just wanted to say one, because I didn't answer your question, which I apologize for, but how we see the beautiful linkage between GDS and what's going to come out of the Taste of Wonderland and Call to the Mothers in Zamba is that we'll have all these projects that are going to be emerging out of the Taste of Wonderland. And then we will have 5 new beautiful archetypes who are going to be holding the energy of a new type, a way of taking these projects and mobilizing them. 5 beautiful new archetypes that will, and so that's how they will then, these archetypes will come and will be brought into these projects as being guides, mentors, And as well, we don't know what else they're going to be, but they're going to be amazing in terms of helping shape those projects and mobilize the changes that actually take an SDG in real time and turn it into a GDS.
One other thing I wanted to bring in is that this is for girl-driven solutions. This is the idea of using a feminine lens. So Hugo is a wonderful part of our girl-driven solutions. So if you are open and into using a feminine lens, it is something that is open to all genders. I did want to make that clear, as I wasn't sure if in our explanation it does sound like it's for women and girls, which it most certainly is, and we want to center marginalized voices. But if you are of the male identifying gender or space, if you are interested in working with and using a feminine lens in this way, we do welcome you to join us.
Yes,
So
the
how are you-
tagline is regenerating the girl in all of us.
So that's our tagline, and we're sticking to it. I also want to say, underline that we have partnered with FemQ, Karen Downs, and so we are delighted at what Karen brings with her last 6 years of holding summits and workshops around the inner transformation of the feminine. And that's going to be an important ingredient in our tea party as we move forward. In terms of, we'll put the website into the chat. We have all kinds of other documents, so please do contact us. The brochure is in the website. You can download it. Having said that, we're morphing in real time. So our latest thinking is even further along than what is on the website. We're just getting ready to publish all of what's been coming in through our different conversations with various partners. So please come and find us, come and tell us that you're ready to do a makeover, and we will give you the kind of creation and tools that you wouldn't have expected can actually bring that girl in you to an empowered woman in today's world. And yes, we are out to change the world. Absolutely, 100. So in that spirit, I'm just going to ask Rick, do you have the link to Today I Rise?
Would you like me to play it? Is that?
Yes, I'm just going to introduce it, and then what we're going to do today is just to wrap with this incredible showcasing of how we rise as women, as from the feminine, for all of us as from the feminine, to be inclusive, because as women we are very inclusive. In terms,
look at Alice. Alice was very inclusive.
Alice included everyone. So I want to, before I conclude, let you know that tomorrow we are going to be experiencing a different kind of preparation for Thanksgiving in the US, where Connie and Andrew are going to join us, where we're going to go into the resonance of the one of, because history has many different stories of Thanksgiving, with the indigenous and the Europeans as they came into the Pilgrim Rock. So it will be a very interesting journey into history, and a journey into the frequency of trust that we hold in bearing thanks and gratitude in this time of year. So that's tomorrow. And for today, I want to say thank you to Hugo and Rebecca and Hill for being and playing with us on in this moment of co-creation and regeneration. And I know that I'm leaving with an enormous amount of enthusiasm for as we move forward, thanks to the energy Hill and Rebecca and Hugo you've brought into this space. So join the Hive, come into GDS. You're not joining other organizations. We're joining you in your quest to change this world. So this is a film that was created by FemQ, and it's going to be our wrap for today. Please stay with us till the end of this video. It is a powerful showcase of how we rise. Thanks one and all, and over to you. Today we rise.
wise woman covered in wounds. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Today is the day I will not sit still and give in anymore. Today I rise. I am bruised, but I will get up and walk again. Today I rise. I don't care if you ignore my beauty. Today I rise. Through the alchemy of my darkest nights, I heal and thrive. Today I rise. Today I rise. I move through the world with confidence and grace. I open my eyes and I am ready to face my wholeness as a woman and my limitless capacities. I will walk my path with audacity. Today I rise. I reconnect with the many aspects of myself. I'm in awe of the reality I can create. I am a queen. I am a healer, a wise woman, a wild woman. I will rise and beam. I am a rebel, I will wake up and fight. I am a mother and I am a child. I will no longer disguise my sadness and pain. I will no longer suffer and complain. I am black and I am white. There's no reason to hide. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I call upon Kali to kiss me alive. I transform my anger into power. No more heartache or strife. The world is missing what I am ready to give. My wisdom, my sweetness, my love, and my hunger for peace. I weep with the trees and the rivers and the earth in distress. I rise and shine and am ready to go on my quest. Today I rise without doubt or hesitation. Today I rise without excuses, without procrastination. Today I call upon my sisters to join a movement of resoluteness and concern. Today is my call to action. I will fulfill my mission without further distraction. Today is the day. Today I will start to offer the world the wisdom of my heart.
Have a wonderful rest of the evening, afternoon, and day. Sending oodles and oodles of love to each and every one of you. Come with us. Let's rise together. See ya.